Hi guys, welcome back to the Lee Valley and Engage. I'm Stu, and this week we're going to focus on these ash pits, and I will show you how I've managed to paint these up and store them. And yeah, so this is let's get on with that. So this is what we've got to deal with. Not got to deal with, but yeah, this is the kit we're going to be using basically. This is what we're going to make the ash pits out of. This is as you can see, it's a Pico. Trying to deal with it so the light doesn't reflect in it too much. Engage line side kit, NB56F. F I think is for fine scale. Inspection pit. It's got code 55 rail. It's suitable also for code 80 rail. More of which I'll explain later. And this is basically the actual kit itself. It's actually formed of these plastic sections that come in pairs, and there's a few other bits and pieces and details in there as well. It's got some rail. It's got a couple of lengths of rail for you to do. The biggest thing I don't understand, I'll explain in a second actually with this. There is a 00 version of this for those who model in that scale. So it contains enough for one inspection pit, which is 6 inches. Well, there you go. It's written on the back. And you can extend it using multiple kits. Now, the thing I found with these is that there's 6 sections inside them, and basically you can only make one long one with one kit. In order to make a couple others, you need the brain's not working this morning. Yes, in order to make the others, we need to combine kits together. So this is I've got actually, in actual fact, there's 3 kits we've actually got here. One which I bought, goodness knows how many years ago, for a project that I thought a layout I thought it was going to work with, and it didn't end up working out. So I've got 4. These are the little sections themselves. They've got some tabs, 2 tabs on the top, and then there's another tab on the bottom, which is also where the moulding sprue is. They literally just come in pairs like that. They're fairly easy to break off, or you can cut them off. You probably will want to remove the tabs on the end, like I've done on this one. And there is a couple of other little features they put in them as well. So this is the other little bits and pieces. I don't know if you can see that. Let's put my hand behind it. So this is just a little sprue, and you've got a pair of stairs, which you can slot into the actual ends of the ash pit. And then these are these plates as well, which are for which are used for walking over, for a safe walking route. I'm actually using these for ash pits. They are advertised as inspection pits. Now, inspection pits and ash pits, some people don't particularly know what the difference is. An inspection pit is literally as it sounds. It's a pit underneath the trains for inspection. So this would be for things like oiling up, for a steam locomotive. This would be mainly, so for a steam locomotive, for example, these would mainly be inside a building. You would not be ashing out inside a building because of the amount of dust that it would create. These kits are also, it's worth pointing out, these kits are also useful for diesel depots or TMDs, because they need a lot of attention underneath the bogies, underneath the actual work as well. These are also useful for multiple unit depots as well. The biggest thing actually with these, for a multiple unit depot, is that quite often these would run the entire length of the building. So, for example, if you're trying to run, that's why it's good that they all slot together. For example, if you're making a model of a modern EMU depot, you've got a 4-car EMU, it's going to be quite long. So that's quite useful. Something I would say, though, this is the rail that's supplied. It's fairly short length and will roughly cover about 3 sections. I still haven't worked out a way of how you're supposed to join these together, and there isn't actually anything in the instructions of how you're supposed to join them together as well. The way that I'm going to do it is I've got some lengths of spare code 80 rail, so literally I am just going to slot these through the entire length. Obviously, if you were dealing with a multiple unit depot, that's not really going to work unless you buy a whole section of flexi track and remove the rails from them, which could be an option. But for me, this is what I'm going to do. So there we go. But yeah, the instructions fairly simple. Just explains how you're supposed to use them. Fit them all together. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to build these kits. Now, yeah, definitely do that. So this is what we're going to do now. We're going to build these kits up. We're going to form them up into 3 ash pits. So we're going to use this kit exclusively for 1. So we're going to have 1 which is 6 sections long, and we're going to have another 2 which are 4 sections long. Now I'm saying 4 sections is in these little bits. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to trim these all down, and then we're going to glue them all together. It literally just very simply just slot together like so. There we go, nice and simple. So really what we're going to do is that the process we're going to follow is we're going to glue all these together, form them up into the right section, into the appropriate number of sections. We're going to trim off the outer edges, install the steps, and then we are going to we're going to paint these all up into a concrete colour, which I'm going to use this Tamiya grey. I think this is US Navy grey, I think. Probably Japanese Navy grey. It's written on there somewhere. But yeah, we're going to use that. And then we're going to hopefully add some ash inside it before I install it. This is just because I want to make sure that I get it all nice and okay. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to try and fill some of these joins in as well. As you can see, there's quite an evident seam there. So I've got some of the filler again. There we go. Got some of the filler, so I'm going to fill these in as well. Make a nice little look there. And yeah, and then we'll be able to install them on the actual layout. So yeah, let's get started with that. So really, it's just a simple case of all of these together. I'm just going to cut off some of the burrs on these sections. I have a feeling that they are going to interrupt. They're interrupting why this isn't slotting together particularly well. So that one's already been cut quite a bit, that one. That's an end one as well, okay. Just trying to work out, because I've made these in before, and one of the older kits I put a load of stuff on them, and then I didn't actually not do a load of stuff with them. I made them up, formed them up into three lengths, to basically split it into 2 kits, and then I didn't do anything else with them. So that's rather good. So I'm trying to find which ones are the ends and which ones I haven't dictated an end yet. Always forget when I'm doing these ones actually to look at the camera and make sure that you can see what I'm doing. That's one of the biggest things I forget when I'm doing this. So yeah, this isn't a review or anything. I'm literally just showing you how I'm doing it. I'm literally making this up as I go along. So that one's got a big burr on it as well, so I need to take that off. Okay, so that's basically those done. Steps, as you can see, they also have little burrs on them. They pretty much just slot inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these into the sections first. And get the right section, and I'll pop the steps in. The walkways, or the plank, these things, I can't actually remember what they're called. There is a word for it. It will probably pop in my head about 3 o'clock in the morning tonight, and I'll start screaming at myself. People will wonder what's going on. So what it actually is called. But yeah, we'll just glue these together now. So this is an end one, so let's just pop a little bit of glue there. And we'll use one of these. Using the tabs because I don't particularly want to use anything else really. Hopefully these will just merge together and form a nice little blob. The thing that I am also going to point out is that I am not going to seal up the bit on the bottom one, because that's going to get covered with ash, which you would find on the inside of quite a lot of these, obviously. Ash pits were cleaned out fairly frequently though, so that's a good thing to remember if you are modelling a steam era depot. They would be cleaned out on a roughly daily basis by literally people stepping into the pit and shoveling it out. Some depots had mechanical plants, but this is for a fairly small depot like this one. You wouldn't have anything mechanical. It would literally just be proper solid back-breaking work, basically. That is the only way that would actually even be done. So we're going to just build one pit first, and then we'll just start working our way across the others. Oh, I forgot to add some on that tab. There we go. Right, so that is one pit together. I'm just going to let that dry. And then I'll just add these steps in as well. It's fairly simply, they literally just slot in the ends. Now steps wouldn't really be anywhere other than the end, to be honest, because quite often these pits weren't that long. And to be honest, is that the height of these pits were quite... Oops, I just realised I've done that, and you can't see a thing what I've done. The heights of these pits were quite often that you could literally just jump down into them. So not particularly a great place to be dealing, not particularly great in terms of if you discovered one in the dark, but in terms of just generally walking across the yard, you could probably avoid it. I've seen them even some preserve railways of people literally just hopping over the gap. So saw one the other week, the Epionga Railway actually, and someone did that. Just literally just walked over the gap of it. But these would be the same as the same colours and etc. of the as the actual pit itself. So there we go. So that's our length of ash pit. This is about the same length as a standard 4 tank. So now I'm just going to build the others, and then we can get on to the next stage. Okay, so this is the ash pit's now finished. Not finished, but they've been all assembled together. What I've also done is I've added in the putty, the plastic putty, just to try and fill in some of these edges. I still need to scrape it off a bit. So that's really what they look like finished. A couple of points I would actually point out about construction. They're rather hard to try and maintain to make them straight. I don't seem to like lining up properly. Excuse me. And the other thing I found was it's also to try and make sure they remain flat as well. So it's sort of like they don't like lining up that way, and they don't like lining up this way either. So yeah, so that's going to be an interesting one when I try and fit the rails in and try and actually fit them into the boards. It seems that the longer you make them, the more they seem to like sticking themselves out, if you know what I mean. So these two, so this one is definitely the worst. These two are okay. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to wait for the putty to dry off. I'm going to scrape it back, try and apply a coat of the paint onto them. One of the main things I'm also going to do before I paint them is I'm just going to take these to the actual board, offer them up to the locations as to where I would like them, and just mark them up on the board as well. I was thinking about possibly fitting the rails after installing them on the board, just to try and make sure that it would actually line up properly, and also so that I didn't end up I didn't end up with rails overhanging or the pit being too short and then the rails not being long enough and stuff like that, to where the other main pieces of fixed track are. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to go offer these up, check them, and then I'm going to come back and then I'm going to give these a paint. So hopefully this will have dried out and I can do that. Okay, so I will see you probably after I've painted these, and we can take a proper look at them and how they've turned out. Okay, so as you can see, all the ash pits are now painted. They look pretty good actually, I think, in the concrete colour. There's a few little flecks of paint you can see. These are in the rail length, or where the rails will be going. So that's not an issue really. Just showing you whereabouts I'm going to put them. So I've already marked up some of these sections here. Unfortunately, some of these aren't actually showing up particularly well, thanks to the black and everything. But where they're going to go is roughly somewhere between something like this, really. Apologies if I got my arm in the way there. So what we're going to have is that these two, so the engine shed itself is going to be here somewhere. And then these sections will be in. So this is going to be the coal road. And then we'll have an ash pit, which is basically going to be a servicing point for mainly engines that are visiting. So these will arrive into here and then be serviced. There'll be a water crane in here as well, coaling facility as well, as I said, the coaling road. The rest will just be areas for engine storage, just locos can park themselves in there. Buffer stop at the end. These two will be the main shed roads. Ash pits would be outside the shed roads for smaller depots, mainly because they were used for oiling up, and also they were used for cleaning out ash. So the way it would work is that these two pits would be for home locos, which are based here, and the big one would be mainly for visiting engines. So they would use these for disposing the engine at the end of the day and things like that. So there's going to be a couple of water cranes here to refuel the engines. So that's really where they're going to go. So the next big thing to do is to make sure that I'm lining this up correctly with the tracks that we've got here, and then to actually start drilling the holes in. Something I did find out rereading the instructions for the ash pit for these inspection pits, is that the code 80 rail, I think it is, means that you need to really, if you're putting code 80 rail in, you need to put some sort of 1mm strip either side of the actual hole that you make for the pit, just to raise it up very slightly, to be in line with the actual code, in line with the track. So that's what we're going to have to do with all three of these, just to put them on. The way I'm going to do it really is I'm thinking of drilling a hole through, roughly marking up where the pit is going to be, and just literally just drilling holes all the way along, with roughly the same size drill bit as the width of the pit. And then we'll get through and hopefully get a nice hole. Okay, yeah, I know it's going to be circular, but then I can just clean up the edges as I go along. So that's basically what I'm going to try and do now, really. I might lay these pieces of track in, well, this one's already laid, but lay some of these sections in to get the track up to the right point so we can work out where the pit is going to actually be. So that might be the next thing to do. But yeah, so I'll probably show you that on a time lapse and show you with the pit. So hopefully next time I actually properly talk to you, all these should be in position and ready to go. Okay, so here they are all fitted in now. I just need to make sure that I can actually increase the height of these. I'm just double checking it because of the with the rail, but I need to double check. Need to clear out all the grooves very quickly to get this in. But that's sort of what it's going to look like, which is pretty good. So I need to get the rails in now. And then also need to just double check the clearance height with this. So I'm just going to use this piece of track as my reference, and then I'm going to use sort of lay all the other pieces of track to these ash pits. So that would be quite a useful one as well. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to fit this rail in and see how that goes. Okay, so I've managed to get the ash pits in, as you can see. I've got a nice loco just to test a few things. So I managed to get the first rails in this first pit here, and as this is the section of track that's closest, I thought we'd start with this one. I found this card, which is actually from a tee box. Always useful. And I found that this is just the right thickness to actually bring the track up to the right level, because I'm using code 80 track here. So we're going to start off with this pit first and just glue a bit of the card to the underside of each of these pits, just to try and bring it up to the right level. Just very simply, just cutting it out with a pair of scissors, really. Let's get that lump on the edge. Okay. So it's just very simple. I was just making sure that I get it the right length. And the right width, which is probably going to be about that width. Okay. So pretty straightforward. So I'll do 2 of those. Actually, I'll do 4 of them, haven't I? I just realised that as I'm doing it. Might as well. Okay. So that's these 4 for the 2 loco pits, the loco shed pits. Cut that bit off as well. It should. These should just be the right size, just to make sure that it extends it up. So it's very. These did go in pretty well. The drilling was okay to get through it. I mean, it's fortunate this board is actually sort of like a fibre board, so it's really easy to actually cut through and to drill through with the drill, obviously. The rails themselves are proving a little issue. I found that some of the glue had seeped through, and some of the paint as well had seeped into the forms a few blobs in the rail grooves. So I found it a bit of a tough one to get the first rails into this one. But pretty much as soon as I get it through, it's okay, which is a good thing. So yeah, that's a good thing for that. Just realised I need to get some glue on this. I'm use this PVA glue. And hope I do not get any on the carpet. Or the track, or anywhere else for that matter, to be fair. Right. So let's get both of these rail ones out. A piece of card might be useful. Just very simple, just smearing it underneath the plastic, and then hopefully the card will stick to it. So pretty much just like this, really. Might do both sides actually, and then stick the thing into the actual okay, and then another one. Put that on there. It's great that it's twisted as I cut it. That's excellent. So what I'm going to do is just going to pop it in there like so, and hopefully just actually being in the slot should help. Glue it down. So I've got tissue in my pocket, which I now inevitably, nope, I do not. So yeah, I've got to clean up that little bit of glue. But yeah, apart from that, that's basically it. I can just slide the rail back very slightly and just get it in. So I'm going to clean out these other two, get the rails in those, get these sections down as well. So as you can see, here's the finished result. Managed to get all of the sections down here, and with the actual glued it on. So this is the first one I did, and then the second two. What I had to do with these two is I had to cut the track the right length. Oops, something else has just fallen off. Cut the track the right length, and then sort of slot it onto the actual track as I was installing the actual pit in. These are now pinned down, and it's fortunately also pinning the actual the pit down as well. I haven't glued these to the actual board or anything like that, so that's basically what's happened with those. But now I've just got to finish laying off the rest of the track, so hopefully you'll be able to see that in the October update, which will be out at the end of the month. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Actually, one thing I will mention, putting the rails in on these, especially after painting them, was a real pain. The longest one was actually, it took me a good sort of 20 minutes just to try and actually get even just one of the rails in. They did take a while. So might be an idea, if you are thinking of doing this and painting these, maybe installing the rail first and then painting it afterwards might be a better solution to actually instead of doing it as it is like this. So that's something I would recommend trying. And if I ever install any more of these, that's something I will try as well. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. So bye for now.